Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today we're tracking a pretty wild ride, SpaceX's evolution from a scrappy, literally near bankrupt rocket startup into a multi-trillion-dollar conglomerate. It's this phenomenal story of near disaster, breakthrough physics, and just massive financial scaling. Let's get right into it.
To put things in perspective right off the bat, by February 2026, SpaceX hit a milestone that's almost hard to wrap your head around. A combined valuation of $1.25 trillion. Trillion with a T. This historic leap was triggered by their acquisition of XAI, making it the highest valued business acquisition in history. We're talking a massive jump from just building rockets to building an entire space-based computational empire. So it kind of begs the question, doesn't it? How exactly did a company that started out in some small California warehouse back in 2002 and faced imminent collapse multiple times manage to achieve such compounding dominance over the legacy aerospace giants? Well, let's start with Section 1, surviving the early days. We really have to look at their ruthless fail fast, learn faster philosophy. Because honestly, it almost destroyed the whole company before it even got off the ground. Elon Musk actually threw in about $100 million of his own cash to kick things off, but those early years with the Falcon 1 rocket, man, they were brutal. In 2006, the very first launch failed because of a fuel leak and a fire. Then a second failure in 2007, and a third in 2008. At this point, the money was practically gone. Musk was reportedly waking up screaming from the stress. But then, backed right up to the absolute edge of bankruptcy, a critical fourth launch finally reached orbit in September 2008. And that single desperate success, it was an absolute lifeline, seriously. NASA awarded SpaceX a $1.6 billion commercial resupply services contract right after. That cash was the crucial financial fuel they needed to save the company. It basically proved to the world, hey, we can build working rockets, and it gave them the capital to keep the lights on and scale up operations. All right, on to Section 2, mastering rocket reusability. With survival finally secured, SpaceX pivoted. They decided to master Earth orbit by fundamentally changing the very rules of how rockets are built and flown. Look, for decades, the standard legacy aerospace model was, it was to throw away incredibly expensive rockets after just one flight. They'd do their job, then crash into the ocean or burn up in the atmosphere. SpaceX chose a completely different path. They committed to developing reusable boosters that actually return and land vertically so they can be used again and again. To pull off a massive paradigm shift like that, they relied on a super lean, flat corporate structure and vertical integration. Basically, by avoiding external suppliers wherever they could, they just did everything in-house. Whether it was testing engines at their huge McGregor facility in Texas or assembling the Falcon 9s horizontally right on their own manufacturing floors, keeping it all under one roof allowed for incredibly fast decision-making and rapid iteration. And that in-house strategy is what drove the crazy fast evolution of their engines. Starting with the Merlin and Kestrel engines for the smaller Falcon 1, they leveled up to the powerful Merlin 1D for the Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy. They also built the Draco and Super Draco engines to maneuver the Dragon spacecraft and handle emergency aborts. And today, they're building the Raptor, this massive, full-flow staged combustion engine running on liquid oxygen and methane, specifically designed for deep space. But here is the real kicker, the economics. Solving that vertical landing problem wasn't just some cool engineering trick. It was an economic engine in itself. It dropped launch costs from an industry standard of around $100 million all the way down to $60 million, or even less. That absolute cost advantage completely revolutionized the spaceflight industry. It let SpaceX launch way more frequently than literally any competitor out there. Which leads us perfectly into Section 3, funding the future. Because those massive cost reductions from reusable hardware, they triggered a compounding domino effect in the company's financial growth. Their valuation just scaled massively right alongside their launch capabilities. Look at this jump. Back in 2012, after their Dragon spacecraft first docked with the ISS, they were valued at $2.4 billion. Solid, right? But by 2020, after a massive funding round, they hit $46 billion. In 2021, fueled by Starship and Starlink progress, they crossed the $100 billion mark. And then, jumping to 2026 with that XAI acquisition, boom, they exploded to $1.25 trillion. Moving on to Section 4, the Starlink mega constellation. You might be wondering how they justified that huge valuation jump. Well, solving the problem of cheap rockets opened up a brand new, highly profitable door, global internet connectivity. Back in 2015, they announced Starlink. This was a wildly ambitious plan to surround the Earth with thousands of low Earth orbit satellites. Manufactured entirely in-house at their facility in Redmond, Washington, the ultimate goal was to provide high-speed broadband to literally everyone on the planet. It's honestly a brilliant business loop when you think about it. Step 1, you build reusable orbital-class rockets. Step 2, you use those rockets to launch your proprietary Starlink satellites incredibly cheaply. Step 3, those satellites generate massive global internet subscription revenue. We're talking millions of subscribers. And Step 4, you use that mountain of cash to fund your most ambitious deep space and AI goals. And that brings us to Section 5, the XAI integration. That incredible revenue stream we just talked about recently fueled a massive pivot towards computation, AI, and advanced manufacturing capabilities, like terafab, in 2026. So in February 2026, SpaceX acquired XAI, structuring it as a wholly owned subsidiary. The strategy is crystal clear: combine rocket capabilities with AI to build space-based data centers. Why? To completely bypass Earth's terrestrial power and cooling limits. By utilizing their new terafab orbital manufacturing hubs, they can dynamically build and expand these massive AI compute nodes directly in space. It essentially unchains artificial intelligence from our terrestrial bottlenecks entirely. Finally, Section 6, Destination Mars. This whole strategic integration, the space logistics, the terafab manufacturing, the AI, it all feeds directly into Elon Musk's ultimate long-term vision. Because the overarching goal behind everything SpaceX does has always been to use that fully reusable Starship system to carry humans to Mars. The plan is to transport massive payloads to the Moon and Mars, deploy these new space-based AI computations to support those exact missions, build self-sustaining colonies, and ultimately, reduce the extinction risk for humanity. Every rocket, every satellite, every AI algorithm, it's all pointing toward this one monumental objective. And everything culminates right here at the Starbase facility in Texas, where the largest rocket ever built stands ready. This colossal Starship sitting on the launch pad is designed to push the boundaries of what is possible. It's the literal merger of heavy logistics, artificial intelligence, and deep space exploration. So, I'll leave you with this provocative thought as we wrap up. As we look at this $1.25 trillion empire today, an empire that clawed its way back from the brink of bankruptcy, what does it mean when one privately held AI-powered corporate entity controls the very gateway to a multi-planetary human future? It's definitely something we all need to consider as these technologies scale up. Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and keep your eyes on the horizon.